to talk about an experience that that I had the other night listening to Scott Ross. And Scott, I can see your screen here, so looks like everything is good to go there. This was actually last week. Last week on Thursday night, we implemented a Fast Start training program here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I believe it was the second one that we had done. I was out of the country the week before, and I sat there during this Fast Start training, and I was actually sitting next to one of my great friends, Sean Sturrock. And as we're going through and listening to Scott Ross give this Fast Start training, we just kept looking at each other with our jaw dropped, because we both literally were having aha moment after aha moment after aha moment. And I believe that tonight, for some of you, tonight can really be a turning point in your career in World Ventures. And I got so excited after that night. Sean and I said, you know what, we have got to ask Scott if he will get on the webinar and do kind of a mega team training here. And so Scott graciously accepted, being the amazing servant leader that he is. And to tell you a little bit about Scott, I met Scott when I first got started actively building World Ventures. Scott had been in the business for not too long, and he gave an opportunity presentation. I had several guests there, and every single guest afterwards was just blown away. And went up to Scott, and I had just naturally assumed that Scott must have a 10, 15-year background in network marketing when I heard this presentation, and I thought, you know, he surely must have been in World Ventures from day one. And what I found out at the end of that presentation, as I introduced myself to Scott and got to know him, he was brand new. He was, in fact, only 4 months. He'd only been in World Ventures for 4 months, and he had just given the best presentation that I believe I had ever seen in network marketing. He has an amazing, amazing talent in this business as a speaker and as a trainer, and in fact, he had never done network marketing prior to World Ventures. And so we are amazingly blessed to have Scott on the team. In fact, Scott hit regional marketing director within 10 months in the business, is totally retired, living the kind of lifestyle that most people really dream about. Sounds cliche to say, but you know, I saw his Facebook post today and it said he's working from the pool. And so anyway, he has definitely done what he preaches. He's one of the most amazing speakers, trainers, and just all around human beings, great human beings. And he is an incredible family man. In fact, he's a spiritual mentor to hundreds of other men, and he just has an amazing passion for making a difference in the lives of other people. And I'm going to very quickly get out of the way here because I don't want to steal Scott's thunder, but what he's going to share with you, again, I believe can really be a turning point in your career here in World Ventures. And what I really got after seeing Scott present the way he presented before. You see, I had seen what he's going to show before. I had seen parts of it before, but never stated the way that he stated, and he had so many additional things that I had not even seen before. And I left with a kind of a dual feelings. One was incredible excitement, because I knew that getting this information out to everyone in World Ventures is going to help all of us achieve a tremendous amount more and allow all of us to be much more successful. It's going to basically eliminate any excuses. It's going to allow you to troubleshoot your business. If you're not having the kind of success that you want to have after tonight, you're going to know exactly why you're not having the success, and you're going to know exactly what to do about it. And so I left amazingly excited, and I also left almost a little pissed off. And I was mad because in 16 years of being involved in network marketing, I had never heard the kind of things that he was saying, and I just wish that I had known this information 16 years ago, because I know it would have made me a lot more successful much sooner. And so again, I cannot thank this individual enough for contributing his time. He is extremely busy. He is consistently one of the very top-rated trainers in the entire company of World Ventures, and not only are we blessed to have him here, I feel incredibly blessed to have him as a friend. So, Mr. Scott Ross, the floor is yours, sir.
Wow, thanks a lot, Matt. I am really blown away by that introduction, and I'm just so honored to be here. I feel like our roles are a little bit out of place right now because I am absolutely one of your students, one of your You are a mentor to me, both near and far. I listen to everything I can get that you've recorded. Every time you train, I love to be there and take notes. And reading your book, of course, has been a huge blessing to my wife and myself and everybody we've recommended the book to. So to be on a call training with you and your people, to me, is a great honor. And like I say, I feel like I'm a little out of place because I feel like, I should be taking the notes right now. But I am excited to be here. And guys, I'm excited about getting this information in your hands because, like Matt said, I am passionate about bringing value to people's lives. And I believe that what I'm going to share with you can be a very significant turning point in your life and in your World Ventures business, because I believe that it's going to give you a framework within which you can operate, and that you will have no confusion about what it is that you're to do day to day and week to week, and no confusion about what may or may not be causing the level of success you're having. If you're having all the success you want, you'll know for sure why that is true. It won't be a mystery. It won't be as if, oh, I'm getting lucky right now. It feels good. I wonder why I'm having the success now. And if you're not having the success, it will be very clear to you where you have places that you can go make changes. That won't be a mystery either. And, we did have a great training last Thursday, and I'll just tell you that, we were fortunate to be able to have a couple hours together, and tonight we're not going to have that amount of time. So I'm going to try to compress these ideas into about 30 minutes. So, take a lot of notes and understand that there may need to be some more meat put on the bone from your mentors and your leaders on your team, from Matt and Sean and everybody that you're plugged in with, concerning some of the concepts I'm going to give you tonight, because I'm going to give you the key information and some good takeaways, but for sure you're going to want to get expanded upon what we're going to talk about tonight. And I would just say that that's going to start with the big events that are coming in your area. Make sure you're plugged into the calendar and that you've got the next big event on your calendar. I know here in the United States that June 11th is the next big event, and everybody on the call needs to make a commitment right now to be there on June 11th for the regionals that are happening all over the country. And I know, of course, that we have events that are happening all over the world as well. So take a look at the calendar in terms of that. So let's go ahead and dive in. And let me just say this before we get started. I'm going to talk about a system tonight that is something that can cause your business to go wherever you want it to go. And you should write this down. The key to this business is duplication. The most essential thing in this business is duplication. Everything in your business needs to be predicated on whether or not it is duplicatable. How duplicatable is what I am doing right now? A question that you should be asking yourself on an ongoing basis is this: would I want 1 million people to have to do what I'm doing right now to make their business work? Because if that's not the case, if the answer to that question is no, you're doing the wrong thing. You have a lot of people who, they come into this business and they say things like, I'm really savvy with Twitter or Facebook. I'm going to go out and do social networking. I'm going to use, a bunch of high-speed internet techniques, search engine optimization. I'm going to drive people to my Facebook site. I'm going to drive people to my website from Facebook, and I'm going to generate a bunch of leads, and then I'm going to go out and convert those leads into new members. Well, that all sounds terrific on paper, and maybe you're a brilliant person and you can pull that off. But let me just tell you, the second you pull it off with one person who converts from lead to member, they can't do what you did. And so it ends right there. Your whole strategy is going to die, because everything you do has to be predicated on how duplicatable it is. If we were live here together, and I wish we were, if I was sitting there with you over a cup of coffee, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to be able to just invest in you, but if we were together, I would ask you a question. Did you get into World Ventures? Did you spend your $300-400 to get started in World Ventures to have another job? And my guess is that most of you on the call tonight, the answer for that question would be no. That's not why you did this. Well, see, if you do things that aren't duplicatable, you have bought yourself what could be a very high-paying but nonetheless, job. Because you will have to be there day in, day out to make it go. No, for most of us, we don't want a job. Instead, if I was to say to you, how many of you got started so that you could be on the beach somewhere, so that you could be climbing a mountain somewhere, so that you could be diving with a white shark somewhere, and the checks are still rolling in? Now we're getting the hands raised. And so the way we're going to make that go is doing things that are duplicatable, things that can happen with or without us. And so tonight I want you to be thinking about that, because what I'm going to show you tonight is a system that I believe is the most duplicatable thing that we've ever introduced in this company. And it's going to be a system that is going to enable you to duplicate fast and teach your people to duplicate fast. And that's really the key. It's not how quickly can you get an enrollment, it's how quickly can your enrollment get an enrollment. It's not how quickly can you train somebody, it's how quickly can the person you've enrolled get someone trained, and so forth and so on. How does somebody become a Matt Morris with tens of thousands of members? You're doing things that are absolutely duplicatable. So we want to take the mystery out of it for you, and we want to give you a rock-solid framework that is cookie cutter. It's like a McDonald's, it's like a Taco Bell. It just repeats over and over again. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. Now, the other idea that I want to get planted in your head as well before we dive into what this system looks like is what I believe is really the precursor to everything you will do in your life to be successful. And I would just say this, you should write this down. Winners decide to win. Winners decide to win. Everyone else does something different. They hope they're going to win. They're trying to win. It'd be nice if they win. But winners decide to win. The reason that people are champions is because they decide to be champions. You don't become a millionaire in anything. I don't care whether it's network marketing or having a dry cleaning business unless you decide to be a millionaire. You don't become a world-class tennis player or golfer or guitar player or violinist or seamstress or anything that you want to do in your life. You don't become great unless you decide to. Because look, guys, in everything that you try to do, where you are today is going to get you so far, and you will always, always, always hit a wall. I play the piano. I play pretty well, but I can get around people who really quickly are going to demonstrate to me how inadequate I really am at playing the piano. If I wanted to go to that level, there's going to be a level of pain and discomfort, a level of boredom with what I'm going to have to do, a level of monotony and drudgery that becomes a part of becoming world class, of going to the next level. And if I haven't decided that's the level I'm going to go to, I'm going to bail. I'm just going to give up. I'm going to quit. I'm going to say, you know what? Not doing it. It's not worth it. But you know what will really happen is in my brain, there will be all these little tapes that will start to play, and those tapes will be rationalizations. I'll say things like, oh, my hands aren't made to do that kind of maneuver right there. I don't have the right hands. Those people, they've got better hands than I do. Oh, they started when they were 3. They had a big head start. That's why they're able to be that good. It's no wonder it's not even worth me trying. You see, I'll start to play rationalizations of why I quit. But make no mistake, I will quit, and I will never get the joy and the satisfaction of reaching that mountaintop. Well, that's going to be true for you in World Ventures. You see, before you can get started in before you can have success in World Ventures, before you can win at the highest level here, you've got to decide that this is what you're going to do. A lot of you joined World Ventures. You woke up the morning you were going to join World Ventures. You woke up that morning and you weren't saying to yourself, man, it'd be awesome, it'd be terrific if somebody would introduce to me this like network marketing travel deal. I would just join that in a heartbeat if that deal came to me today. That didn't happen to you the day that you woke up and saw World Ventures. You woke up like it was any other morning. You were going about your day like it was any other day, and then somehow a friend, a relative, a trusted colleague introduces a concept you'd never heard before. You're taken aback. You're caught off guard. You think, wow, this is pretty cool. And for most of you, here's what you did. You said, all right, I'll give this thing a try. I'll give it a shot. And a lot of you are hoping it's going to work. For a lot of you, you've never really wanted a high level in your life. You weren't like the top in your school. You were never the star athlete. And a lot of you, you have a dream. You want something really big. You have this sense. It's not even really defined. You have a sense in your gut that there's something great that you were meant for. And you are just kind of hoping the thing comes along that will make that possible. You thought maybe it was the lottery, or maybe if it was like a game show or one of those reality TV shows or something. You don't really know. You're just kind of waiting for that thing. And so when World Ventures came along, for a lot of you, that's what it was. You're thinking, well, it'd be nice if this was kind of the thing. I kind of hope this is the thing. Well, let me just tell you, I want you to win. I'm telling you this because I love you even though we haven't met. I want you to achieve and be the person God meant you to be. You're not going to get there with that kind of attitude. The way you get there is deciding, this is frickin' the deal for me. This is my ticket. This is how I'm going to get there. You see, I could show you a lot of ways to make $1 million. See, I personally could do anything I want. I spent 16 years in the software industry. I was very successful in that industry. I made a very significant income. Right now, I could be in the technology industry still. I could be doing anything I want in that industry. I could write a business plan and go start a software company. If I didn't want to do software, I could do anything else. I could go buy a franchise or start a flower shop or go play, the guitar as a migrant traveler from town to town. Whatever. I could do anything I want to do. Why am I doing World Ventures? Because I think that if you put this business model up against every other business model, and you put the rewards of this business model against those, you put the expense and the overhead up against those, you put the liability and the risk up against those, World Ventures wins over and over and over. But guys, it doesn't really matter what it is you're going to do to win. You got to decide you're going to be a winner first. And so once you've decided that, like if you decide, I'm going to be financially free, I'm going to own my life. Matt was saying that my Facebook status today was I was working poolside, and that's true. I was sitting by the pool. That's what I was doing today. Most people were at work. We had a 3-day weekend here in the United States. We had a Memorial Day weekend on Monday, and most people on Monday night were sitting there agonizing over the fact that their long weekend was over, and on Tuesday morning, they're going back to work. They're heading back to the cube. They're heading back to the traffic. They're heading back to the boss who doesn't appreciate them. They're heading back to the dog-eat-dog. You know what I was doing? Thinking about how Tuesday was the next start to my next 3-day weekend. You can own your life. If you want to own your life, that's the decision you've got to make first. Don't say, I hope World Ventures will work so that I can own my life. You make a decision that you're going to own your life first. And then all we got to do is find the vehicle to get you to where you own your life. I think World Ventures is the best vehicle you could choose. But that's going to be something that you're going to make, it's going to be easy, it's going to become second nature to win here once you've decided that the first thing you're going to do is have total freedom. You want to travel for free. You want to have a free car. You want to have a free house. You decide that's what you're going to have first, and then we can put the system in place to make it possible. So I know I spent a lot of time on that, guys, but listen, I can't emphasize this enough. If you haven't decided to win, you're not going to win. I can give you every magic phrase. I can give you the formula. I can give you the magic words to say. When they say this, you say that. I can do all of that for you. None of that's going to matter because you're going to stretch. You're going to hit plateaus. You're going to hit walls. You're going to have times where you're knocked down, where you're kicked in the mouth. You're going to have all of that happen to you on the pathway to greatness. And the only thing that's going to keep you on the path is having decided you're going to reach the top. So let's go ahead and get started with this. And guys, I just tell you, here's what I would do. I do this with the people that I teach personally. If we were sitting down over that cup of coffee and you would join my team and we were doing this just one-on-one, here's what I would do. I would tell you that you need to go into your phone and you need to set a timer to go off later on today. Now, we're doing this late at night tonight. It's 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 Eastern. I know for many of you, you're making huge sacrifices personally to be on this call from around the world, and I so value that and value your time. So you do this for whatever time you want to do it, but I would set a timer to go off later today. For those in the United States, I'd have it go off in about an hour and a half. I'd just put it in my phone. Even if you need to stay up late, I'd do it. I'd make myself a cup of coffee, and I would do it. And here's what I would say in the timer. When the timer goes off, I would title the alarm, Come to Jesus. And here's what I mean by that. You need to have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself. You need to sit down with yourself, and you need to figure out what it is you really, really want. And you need to figure out what price you're willing to pay to get that thing. What are you willing to go through? Are you willing to give up? What are you willing to give up? You know, a lot of people have to-do lists. The really successful people have to-don't lists. The things they're not going to do anymore. They're not going to watch TV. They're not going to sit playing Facebook all day. They're not going to have some time with their kids in the short term that they want. They're going to maybe miss some of those soccer practices or those basketball games on the weekend. What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to, what if you go to your best friend and your best friend says you're an idiot for doing this? Are you done? You need to decide that now. See, the problem with most people is they get started with this idea. They go to their best friend says, you're an idiot, and then they're done right then. One shot, you're out. You could have owned your life. You could have had it all, but because you didn't even mentally prepare to win, you didn't decide to win, the first guy who comes along is able to knock you off your game. See, tonight, over that cup of coffee, you're going to think about that. What if my best friend says I'm an idiot? What if your mother-in-law tells you that you're a loser for getting started in this? You can't believe that her daughter would marry such a loser for doing something like this. Are you prepared for that? Just go through it mentally. Take ownership of all the worst-case scenarios that could happen, all the terrible things that you're going to dream up in your mind and create these demons that are way out of proportion. Let's just get them all on the table, and before you get up from that table, you make the decision. Are you going to win? Or are you not going to win? It'll be the best hour you spend ever in your lifetime, because you're either going to know, you know what, I'm not winning. I don't have the stomach for it. And now, sitting there in traffic, you're just going to resign yourself. That's what you're going to do every day. But you know what a lot of you are going to do? You're going to get up from that table, and you're going to have the kind of resolve that is extraordinary, the kind of resolve that only the top 1% of the people who ever walk the planet ever get. You're going to have the kind of grit and determination it takes to get to the top of a mountain, and then using this system I'm about to teach you, you're going to get there. All right, let's dive in. Okay, guys, we got a system here, and we call our system the 9 commitments. Now, the 9 commitments are very, very simple. They're simple in conceptual nature. They are not as simple to follow through on. Here's what a commitment means. A commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the mood you set it in is over. You know, one of the things that I say a lot, you can write this down, is that we live by decisions, not by emotions. We live by decisions and not by emotions. A lot of people, they live by emotions. You know, they go in, they have a fight with their spouse, it's time for a divorce. Where they should have lived by is the decision they made when they were standing at that altar, and they said, till death do you part. Okay? We live by decisions, not by emotions. You're going to decide tonight when you're sitting at that table, you're going to decide there that you're going to win here. So then when the emotion of the moment comes up, when you're frustrated, when you're having a bad day, when things aren't going the way that you want them to go, no problem. You live by the decision you made, not by the emotion of the moment. So we're going to make some commitments to ourselves and to each other as a team, and there are 9 commitments we're going to make, and these 9 commitments are going to be the guiding lights to get us to the top of the mountain. Now, commitment number 1 is simple. It's the game plan session. The game plan session is this. We're going to sit down in the first 24 to 48 hours with every single person on our team who enrolls. If you enroll someone personally, you're committing to do a game plan with them. If you are brand new on the team and no one has ever done a game plan with you, you need to go to the person who enrolled you and say, hey, I need my game plan. Now look, on every team, this may look a little different. I will tell you that Matt and I are collaborating on an agenda for these game plan sessions. I have one that we use on our team. I've shared that freely with Matt, and I know that he's getting back to me with some great insights on that, and you guys are going to have that agenda available to you. I would just tell you this. On your team, whatever it is that you do, make it consistent. People should not be having to guess at what it is they're to do in the game plan session. They're not supposed to make it up as they go. That is not duplicatable. What you want to do is have an agenda that every single person follows. One of the key things you're going to do in that game plan session is this. A, you are going to establish why the person is going to build World Ventures, why it is that they're going to do what they're going to do. That thing I was talking about before where we decide to win, why are they going to decide to win? What is it that they really, really want? You're not going to give lip service to this. You're not going to say, as the first question of the game plan, why are you building World Ventures? And they say, because I want to get rich. And you go, okay, cool, next section. No, no, no. See, getting rich is too nebulous. Everybody's going to say that. No one really wants to get rich. Getting rich is too fuzzy of an idea. You know, do they want to take care of an elderly parent? Did they make a promise to their children? Did they never take their spouse on a honeymoon? These are things that are very personal to people. These are the things that are going to get them up in the morning and keep them up later at night. That's what we're looking for, and you're going to want to get into that in the game plan session. Another thing you're going to do in the game plan is this. You're going to book a travel party within their first 7 days. You're going to book a travel party in the first 7 days. Now, look, we have taught in World Ventures, if you're brand new, this is not going to be familiar to you, but we have taught in this company for a while a little system called 5 to 10. And 5 to 10 has a lot of things about it that are cool, but here's the challenge with 5 to 10. 5 to 10 says, when you get started, I'm going to give you 5 to 10 DVDs, and I'm going to tell you, go show these to your best 5 to 10 people as fast as you can. Now, what ends up happening is they're doing that in a one-on-one setting over coffee at their house. And so it's taking us 2 to 3 weeks to get through 10 exposures if we ever get through the 10 exposures. And guys, I will just tell you this. Because this business is about duplication, and because the idea here is to have teams of thousands of people, we are looking for the aces. We are turning over cards, and we're looking to uncover an ace. You could write this down on your wall, put it on a poster somewhere. I get $10,000 a month for the rest of my life for every ace that I turn over. I get $10,000 a month every month for the rest of my life for every ace that I turn over. So we're looking for aces. Well, by just statistical odds, we've got to go through more people faster to uncover the ace. If on your team you enroll someone and they take the next, 3 weeks to go through 10 people, you're not going to get to the aces very quickly. If we implement the travel party system, they're going to have to invite 20 people to come to that travel party to get 5 to show up. Out of the 5 who show up, maybe only 1 enrolls. Let me tell you, that's okay. In fact, that's good. We just weeded through 20 people, boom, in a week. We found 1. Guess what we do with that 1? A game plan session, and we book their travel party. They're going to go through 20 people, boom, and we're going to keep going level to next level, to the next level, to the next level, much, much faster, weeding through those who don't want to play, finding those who do, and we're going to get to the aces much more quickly. So those are 2 critical components to the 9 commitments, or to the game plan session, and that is commitment number 1. Commitment number 2, 2 exposures every single day. 2 exposures every day. Now, I'm going to get into this in a little more detail here in a bit, but just understand this. It means 2 exposures a day. It doesn't mean 4 exposures one day and no exposures the next day. It doesn't mean 9 exposures all at once and then none for 2 weeks. It means 2 exposures every single day. Now, look, guys, we're going to give you some ways that you can expose people. I will just say this. Do not get wrapped around the axle on the initial exposures. People need to see information a number of times before they say yes on average. In fact, you know, if you have a background like mine where you've studied in detail the science of marketing and the science of selling and buying and what happens in the brain, the actual chemistry and the buying psychology, you understand that the science is clear. People typically need to say no to something 7 times before they can say yes to it. A lot of people get involved in World Ventures, and they go show their buddy one time, and their buddy says no, and they're done. They're like, I've failed. I'm terrible at this. Woe is me. I must quit. That's a terrible attitude, and it's absolutely not it has no basis in reality. You want to know that when I expose somebody, them saying no initially, or them needing more information, or them saying, I'm not sure, I got to think about it, that's the way of the world. So we're going to just start getting this information in front of people. You can write this down. No one can buy World Ventures that has not heard of World Ventures. No one can buy World Ventures that has not heard of World Ventures. They've got to hear about this idea. We've got to get the information in front of people. And one of the things that I talked about on Thursday, and I wish I had the time to get into this now, guys, this is network marketing. It's not network selling. It's not network closing. It's not network 100% of the time we get a yes. It's network marketing. Marketing is marketing is marketing. I don't care what you call it. I don't know whether you call it network marketing, direct marketing, internet marketing. Marketing is about throwing spaghetti at a wall. It's about numbers. Coca-Cola runs an ad. Millions of people see the ad. Only a few buy the Coca-Cola. The people at Coke are not beside themselves over the millions who said no. They could care less about those people. That's just the way of the world. That's the way the game works. You put it in front of a bunch, you get a few who say yes. Guys, that's the way this is too. So stop being personally connected to the yes. Just distance yourself from that. Totally disconnect yourself emotionally from the response. Just start putting the information in front of 2 people a day. We're going to show you how to do that in a minute. Commitment number 3, attend your weekly live business presentation. Every single week, you need to have a presentation. It needs to be at the same place, at the same time, every single week. And you need to have the very best presenter in your area presenting at that presentation. They need to be good. They need to be funny. They need to be compelling. They need to be entertaining. And they need to be able to deliver the concepts of what we're doing here articulately, something that people digest when they're sitting there. We do not need to have people who are learning on the job. If they want to learn on the job, set aside a Saturday where you get together with all your up-and-coming people who feel like they want to be presenters and let them role play with you and give presentations and see other people give presentations and give critique and get feedback and do all that stuff. Cultivate your leaders that way. Do not burn your new person and their prospect so that somebody else gets an on-the-job tryout to be a presenter. Put your people in front of the very best, and that's going to happen every week. Now look, one of the things about duplication and about any kind of business building is this: the confused mind does nothing. One of the things that people need is the bedrock of when is that presentation happening. I give the illustration, I live in the Bible Belt. I live in Dallas, Texas, and we have a lot of really big churches. And I say this to people. I say, if your church met in a different place at a different time every single week, would it grow? And the answer is always no, it would not. People need to know it's at this place at this time on Sunday morning every single week. That way they can point people to it. That way they have no confusion about when they're supposed to show up. A lot of you are trying to build your following, you're trying to build your organization, and it's all over the map. People don't have anything that's rock solid foundation for them to count on from week to week. So we're going to go to a live presentation once a week, and we're going to make sure that we are there every single week. It's not if I've got a guest I come. I come every week and bring the energy and the enthusiasm necessary to make the meeting successful. And then we have everybody else pointing people to that live presentation. Commitment number 4, you're going to plug into your Fast Start training class. Now, these two things go hand in hand, commitment number 3 and commitment number 4. Commitment number 3 is going to be this. Like I said, a live meeting. Then you're going to follow up later in the week with a live training. The training is a full-blown Fast Start training. Ours in Dallas are 2.5 hours. We run them from 7 to 9:30. We give a top to bottom how to do this. Guys, here's what's happening a lot in the field. We're getting people to enroll. We're handing them a stack of DVDs, and we're saying, hey, congratulations, God bless you, good luck. Go get them, Tiger. We're sending them to the wolves. They don't have any idea how to do what it is that we're asking them to do. In many cases, they don't even know what their website is. I mean, they enrolled, they gave us a form, they got nothing back, they walk out of there, they don't even know how to spell World Ventures, and we're hoping they're going to go out and enroll somebody. It's absolutely crazy to think that that's going to duplicate. We need to equip people, give them a solid foundation. I would rather spend a week up front getting them trained so that they know what they're doing instead of just sending them off to the wolves. So here's what we're doing, and I suggest you guys find something that works for you in your area, but it needs to have some sort of rhyme or reason to it. I'll explain ours. We're doing a Tuesday night presentation for guests. They come, everybody comes. It's the weekly live event, like I said in commitment number 3. That's on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we do the Fast Start training. So here's what this starts to look like. People come on Tuesday night, they get enrolled. We had a commitment to give them a 48-hour game plan. We do that within 24 hours. They do that on Wednesday. So they enrolled on a Tuesday. They come on Wednesday. They get their game plan. In the game plan, they're taught these 9 commitments. They are then rolled into the Fast Start training on Thursday. They spend 2.5 hours with the great leaders that are in their area. They get equipped. They're ready to go. They're loaded up, ready. They're armed. They're equipped. They go out. They're rocking and rolling, and they're also having a travel party that's going to get booked within the next 7 days. They now know how to invite to that travel party, how to handle people who come to the travel party, how to host the thing, all that stuff. They're rocking and rolling. So we have a Tuesday event, a Thursday training. We do our game plans on Wednesdays. Guys, this works very, very well. Commitment number 5 is you're going to attend your monthly regional training events. Guys, I'm sure that you've heard this before, but this business is built from event to event. One of the things that I would suggest that you start to track in your business is how many people on your team are at each month's training events. If that number stays still or diminishes in any given month, you know your business is going the wrong way. Every single month, you're going to be able to tell how much income you're going to have 90 days from now based on how many people are coming to the training that month. If this month if you're starting out and today is your first day in World Ventures and you're in the United States, you have an event on June 11th. Your goal should be to put as many people into that June 11th regional as possible. Let's say we roll into that June 11th regional, you're able to take 10 people into that event. You're rocking. Now, come the next month, we're going to be at Millionaire Boot Camp in Las Vegas. That 10 people should have grown. It should grow to 15, 20, 30 that are coming to the Las Vegas event. Then we're going to have another event the next month. The number should grow again. So you need to commit yourself to go to the monthly events. We have them on a regional basis about 6 times a year. You need to make that commitment and have everybody on your team make the same commitment. And then we have 4 major national events a year. You need to commit to these as well. Now, one of the things that happens is people who see this, they think, oh my gosh, Scott, you're asking me to spend more money? You want me to go, I just spent money to get started, and now you want me to spend more money? Yeah, because you want to win at the highest level, right? That's the point. You want to own your life. Well, guys, there is no business in the world that has as little overhead as this one does. If you owned a traditional small business, it would cost you, according to the Small Business Administration, $50,000 just to get started in that business, you would have a 99% chance, by the way, of losing all 50,000 of those dollars because the odds are not in your favor to start a small business. But you would spend 50 grand up front, and then you would have thousands of dollars or more a month just to keep the lights on in that business. Here you start for 365, and once you get 4 customers, yours is free, so you have 0 overhead. So here's the way I would look at this. I would look at this as if I had about a $6,000 a year business. It cost me $6 grand a year to keep the lights on in my World Ventures business. And within that $6,000 is the budget to do all the training events that I'm going to have to do, the 4 major national events and the regional events that are coming my direction. Guys, when you have that attitude, you're not surprised that there's another event. This is what you do. If you were the CEO of IBM and IBM was having a conference, you'd be there. If you're in real estate or in insurance and there's the big real estate conference, you're there. That's what you do. Well, this is going to be your vehicle. Remember, we go back to the beginning. We decided up front we're going to win. This is just the vehicle that's going to get us to where we want to be. So because we've already made that decision, this is what we do. We're all in. And so if it costs us a few $1,000s to go to all these training events, so be it. That's the cheapest route to millionaire status that you're going to find anywhere on the planet. So commit to going to the national events. Let me say one other thing. Everything you do is predicated on belief. You act out of what you believe to be true. I could do a whole training on this, but you personally have got to get to a place that you believe you can do this. You got to, another part of belief, the flip side of that coin is you cannot do anything that is incongruent with your underlying value system. So for instance, if somehow you don't believe that network marketing is legitimate, if you have this sense that network marketing is not really on the up and up, and you've kind of convinced yourself that even though network marketing isn't on the up and up, World Ventures is maybe just like the little exception or whatever, because you're kind of operating outside your value system, you're not going to go very far. At some point, you're going to butt up against that belief, and it's going to sabotage you. You've got to believe that network marketing is legitimate. You've got to believe that the company is the right company, that World Ventures can do everything we say it can do. And more important than anything, you've got to believe that you can personally win. A lot of you have not won, and a lot of you have convinced yourself that other kinds of people are the kinds of people who win, that you're just not one of those lucky few. Let me just cut that off. Let me cut the head off that deal. You can win. Any tape that is in your head that's telling you you can't win is a lie from the pit of hell, and you need to just get rid of it because it's not based in reality. The past does not equal the future. What's happened yesterday has absolutely no effect on what's going to happen today or tomorrow. So you got to get the belief system in the industry, in the company, and in yourself. Guys, the place you're going to do that is the national events. If you spent $5,000, which it would never cost that much, but if you spent $5,000 to know for sure that you could absolutely win and to discover all these things about yourself that would get you over every one of your internal psychological barriers, could you have spent $5,000 on anything better than that? It is priceless. Well, guys, going to these events cost you maybe, $300 for the ticket and $300 or $400 for a plane ticket and a hotel room. Guys, you can make major things happen in your life if you'll get your belief system right, and that's going to happen at the national events. But again, we go back to duplication. It's not really about you, is it? It's about everyone else, and they need that belief too. But they're not going to go to the national event if you're not going to the national event. So make sure that you're at the national event every single time. Next one is maybe the biggest of them all. It is a commitment to personal development. We've got to go to work on you. You've got to become the kind of person that can attract 3,000 people into your organization. You've got to become the kind of person that 3,000 people would want to follow. Now, what happens for a lot of people is they get started in anything and they run into that first wall and they convince themselves that, well, I'm not that kind of person. You see, there's two ways to look at talent and aptitude and skill. And people fall into kind of one of two categories. The majority of the people in the world fall into one bucket, and then there's a small number of people who fall into the other bucket. And the second bucket, the smaller number of people, that's the people who win. See, what most people do is they think of talent and they think of aptitude as some sort of set, internal thing that it's like your height. It's just like, you know, I would like to be taller, but I can't be taller because I'm as tall as I am, so there it is. People think of intelligence in that way. They think, well, you're smart or you're not smart. They think of eloquence as you're eloquent or you're not eloquent. They think of wisdom as you're wise or you're not wise. They think of you're musically gifted or you're not musically gifted. You can jump high or you can't jump high. Here's the reality. And there is, by the way, mountains of scientific data over 4 decades to prove what I'm saying, what I'm about to tell you. Here's the reality. The reality is that all of that is nonsense. That anything you want to be, you can be. That you are just simply in process of becoming what it is that you're going to be. Now, if you view intelligence, for instance, as a fixed trait, that's the word I was looking for earlier. It's just a trait. It's like your height. If you view it as fixed, then every time you go to do something that requires intelligence and you don't do it well, you're going to say something like this. You're going to say, oh, see, I'm not very smart, so that's why I failed at that deal. But see, the winners say, oh, that just showed me what I don't know yet. That showed me what I haven't been able to learn yet. They know they're in process. And so that's what I want you to start to see in yourself, that you are a work in process, that you're not a finished item yet. And so everything in your life, when I say you need to be able to attract 3,000 people, some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never that kind of person. That's other kinds of people that can attract 3,000 people. I'm not that kind of leader. That's all crap. You need to get rid of that tape. You can be that person. We just have to get you there. If you want to go somewhere you've never gone, you're going to have to become someone you have never been. And that's where commitment number 7 comes in. We got to move you from point A to point B. You got to be committed to your own personal growth. The deal is not on trial. Okay? World Ventures is not on trial. Matt Morris got a ring at International Convention saying he made more than $1 million in a single calendar year with this company. That means it works. Sheila and I, we are free because of this idea. We've taken 25 trips in 27 months paid for by the company. That means it works. Sean Sturrock has taken more than 40 vacations paid for by the company. He's free. That means it works. The deal is not on trial. What is on trial is me. What's on trial is you. Am I going to make it work? Am I going to do what it takes? Am I the person who can win? So we got to work on you. So here's the thing we're going to do, guys. We're going to start a program where you're going to systematically be moving forward in your life. You're going to read 10 pages every single day of some sort of personal development book. 10 pages. And you're going to listen to 15 minutes of some sort of personal development audio program. Now, your leadership can decide what they want to do on their own, and I would get with them. I will tell you that I start every single person on our team with the same book, and that book is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And if someone has read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, I then move them to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Once they've read that, I then move them to The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And then I move them from that book to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's a great starter library and a starter set of books. But you're going to read 10 pages a day. And here's a really cool thought. Do you know that Champions are not made in a day, but they are made daily. Champions are not made in a day, but they are made daily. And if we go to work on you just 10 pages a day, do you know if I read 10 pages a day and you don't, at first there's no difference. We look exactly the same. For months we will look and act exactly the same. But you know a year in it's going to look a little different. And 2 years in I'm going to start to look dramatically different than you. See, here's what's exciting, guys. Here's what you can get your teeth around. 10 pages a day, you could read it before you had to leave for work in the morning. You could read it over a cup of coffee. You could read it in 10 minutes. Okay? And if you improve just 1% a week, just 1% a week, could your leadership skills improve by 1% a week? Could your mental skills, your ability to process external events in a positive way and be able to turn them into your favor, could that improve just 1% a week? Could your ability to mingle in a crowd and be able to make a friend out of a stranger, could that improve just 1% a week? If you improve just 1% a week, in a year you've improved 52%. You're almost twice as good now. Within 2 years, you're going to have more than doubled your skills with just 10 pages a day. Guys, you've read Matt Morris's book, or if you haven't, I highly encourage you, go get it. Go read The Unemployed Millionaire and read his unbelievably inspiring story. But think about the fact that he had a couple years there where nothing was showing up. It was all seed going in the ground. But because he was working on himself, after those couple of years, man, his life started to look dramatically different. That can happen for you as well. And I would just say this, it's 2011. You know, 2009 doesn't seem that far ago. Think about where you were in 2009. What if you'd been working on yourself this way since then? You would be a whole different person today. The time is going to pass anyway. Make a commitment to personal development. Commitment number 8 is to have a workout partner. Very simple. If you go join a gym and no one goes to the gym with you, it's easy to not get up out in the morning. It's easy to lay there in bed. It's easy to hit the snooze button. If you have somebody who's going to knock on your door and expect you to get in the car to drive to the gym with them every morning, it's a lot harder to stay in bed. If you know that if you don't show up to the gym, your partner's going to be calling you and driving by your house, it's a lot harder to stay in bed. It's the same idea here. Get a running buddy. Get someone who will kick you in the behind when you don't do what you should do. Get someone who is going to hold your feet to the fire. If you are familiar with the colors, don't pick a yellow for this job. Pick a red. Pick someone who will absolutely hold you accountable in love to do what you've said you're going to do. And here's a little thing I just tell people to do a lot. Go to someone who has already said no to you on this idea and just say this to them. Hey, listen, I know you said no to me. Guys, I'm doing this thing. This is my ticket. It's very, very important to me, and I want you to help me out. I need you to do me a favor. No matter what happens, you can never let me quit World Ventures. Okay? When people tell me no like you told me and I'm having a bad day, I need you to just tell me, just forget about those people and stick in there. You have that kind of conversation with people, it's going to change your life, and you know what? It's going to change a lot of those people too. Commitment number 9 is simply this. Be here 1 year from now doing number 1 through 8. Guys, this is a 3 to 5 year plan. It's not get rich quick. It's a funny thing to me. People all the time, they'll say when they see the presentation, is this one of them get rich quick deals? And we're like, of course not. No. And then they get started, and in 3 weeks, if they haven't made $1 million, they're like, I got to quit. It's not working. Well, which is it? Do you want a get-rich-quick deal or do you not want a get-rich-quick deal? Trust me, this is not a get-rich-quick deal. It is a get-rich over 3 to 5 years deal, though. And the thing I'll tell you is, see, in my life, I was working my tail off. I was working as hard as a man could work. And I was going to have to keep doing that for 20 years if nothing changed. So if you come along and tell me all you have to do is take that effort and put it here and in 3 years you're done, that seems like a great option to me at that point. Well, guys, that's the way you got to look at this. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. And it's going to be 3 to 5 years of you giving it everything you've got. But in 3 to 5 years, not only have you changed your destiny, everyone around you has changed their destiny. Your children will be different. Your grandchildren will be different. I mean, you understand, right, that this is a willable, sellable, transferable asset that you've got a hold of here. You can will this to your kids, and they have a residual income for the rest of their lives that can be willed to their children. This is a huge thing you're doing here. I spent 10 months in this idea, and if I die, my kids get a 6-figure income forever because of what their dad did for 10 months. That's a really good exchange. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. Be committed to be here 1 year from now, and then at the end of that year, we're going to re-up for another one. So that's the 9 commitments. Guys, listen, Matt, I know we're running out of time here. We've only got about 3 minutes. I'm going to run real quickly through 6 tiers of exposing people. And these are just some ways that you can get people in front of this idea. And I call them 6 tiers because this is the order of priority that I would use to get people in front of it. This is the best, or I should say the most effective to the least effective in terms of someone enrolling on the spot. Okay? And tier number 1 is your best option is a live meeting with the best presenter in your area. There's just a dynamic that comes from a group meeting with a great presenter who's compelling and is entertaining and gets people going and has a good story. And when you get all the other stories up there, that's your very best exposure. You want to get people to that as often as you can. Your next tier is a live travel party with the best presenter available because it brings a lot of the same dynamic just at a smaller level. And again, it's the live thing. It's the meeting of people. I'll just take an aside for 5 seconds and say this. I personally make it about people versus a thing or an opportunity or a deal because all of those are inanimate. Nobody gets passionate about inanimate things. We get passionate about things that have life to them. And people is what we really want to connect with. We really want to connect with other people. So I make it about getting to meet people, and you got to come see this person, and you got to meet this guy, you got to come see this girl. I make it about people, and so the live travel party and the live meeting do that in spades. Your third option is a 2-on-1 with the best person available. So this is, again, a live person, but it's at a coffee shop, in a 2-on-1 environment where you're bringing your prospect, you're edifying a person who's going to sit across from the table, and they're going to walk that prospect through this idea. Your fourth option is a 1-on-1 with a Just Push Play DVD. You're going to sit down with coffee and do this 1-on-1 and just, push play on a DVD. You're going to give them your story up front, and then you're going to try to get them on a third-party call after the Just Push Play DVD has been seen. The fifth option is some sort of online video viewing where you're not there in person with them. And then the sixth option is just anything else, a sizzle call, a magazine, a trifold, anything that basically gets the information in front of them. You give them a DVD to take with them, something like that. That is your sixth option. And here's the thing I'd say. In options 2 through 6, when they say no, which they might, you just simply move them to the live meeting. Hey, if they say, well, I need to think it over, awesome. I knew you probably would. Listen, I want you to meet some of these people. We're having a get together on Tuesday nights. You need to come meet them. There's going to be great networking for you and your whatever it is that they do, and you need to meet some of these people. I'm going to come by and pick you up. I'll pick you up about 6:30. We'll swing by over there. I'll buy you a coffee on the way. So you just don't ever worry about the no. You just always move people to the next exposure. But when you expose them in any way other than the live meeting, you always want to get them pushed to the live meeting when they say they got to think it over. So Matt, I had a couple things on inviting and that sort of thing, but I know our time's running short, so I'm going to just kick it back to you. And, I hope this has been valuable to you and your team, and I hope this is, something that causes people to have the kind of growth that I know everybody wants.
All right. Hey, Scott, appreciate that so much. And you know what? I have gotten so many messages, text messages and so forth, of people saying, you better be recording this. Are you recording this? And the answer is yes. And so we are going to get this up on a replay. But Scott, one of the aha moments that I had, and I know a lot of people had the other night when you did the Fast Start training, was the invite, specifically the text invite. So I think probably pretty much online would love to hear that. You know, the two-step. In fact, I just got another text right now saying to keep going. So if you don't mind, would you cover that before we go?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I'd be happy to do that. So, guys, when we invite, you know, there's a lot of ways to invite, and you know, there's the phone-based invite, and it's good. And I would just say this: don't swing the pendulum too far. If you're using a phone-based invite, what I mean by that is by you calling someone with your actual voice, talking to them live. If that works for you, great. Here's the thing that I've found: that people have a lot of apprehension about getting on the phone. And so what we're trying to do, again, is be as duplicatable as possible. And so we've got something that we call the two-step text. And the two-step text is a very, very simple invite. And it's my opinion and my experience, actually, that if this invite is done correctly, you'll get 100 out of 100 appointments. I'll say that again. You will get 100 out of 100 appointments. Now, here's the thing, guys. We don't care if they say yes. All we care is that they see it. You should write that down. I don't care if they say yes. All I care is that they see it. And so the only thing we need to have happen for them to see it is for us to get an appointment. Well, if you're getting 100 out of 100 appointments, you're winning over and over and over and over and over again, because remember, it's not network selling. It's network marketing. We're trying to go through the numbers as fast as possible. So the way the two-step text works is very, very simple. The first thing we're going to do is send a text message that is going to give people a really big bucket to step into, okay? They're going to get a big bucket that they're going to easily be able to step into. And then the second thing we're going to do is once they step into that bucket, we're going to tell them what that's going to look like. So here's how this goes. Let's say, for instance, that Matt's my buddy. I want to expose this idea to Matt. I want to get him in front of me and do a 2-on-1 at Starbucks. So what I would do is simply do this. I would text Matt and say, Matt, could you do coffee this week? Could you do coffee this week? I might make it a little more specific, but still really open-ended, like, hey, Matt, could you do coffee tomorrow? If he says yes, let's say I say, could you do coffee tomorrow? He says yes. He is now in the bucket. He has told me that tomorrow he can do coffee. Now, all I'm going to do then is tell him what that looks like. Cool. How about 4 at Starbucks? Cool. How about 4 at Starbucks? He is then either going to say 4 won't work, but 2 would, or no, the afternoon's not good, it'll have to be morning, or whatever. But now there's nothing that's going to happen that he's not having coffee with me. He is going to have coffee with me. He's going to have coffee with me tomorrow. It's just simply a matter of, what does that look like? So we just want to give people big buckets. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to go show him the DVD. One of the things I love a lot is going and just going to people. Instead of having them come to me, just going to them. I might say, Matt, you're going to be in the office today. You're going to be in the office today. Hey, Matt, you're going to be at home tonight. Are you going to be at home tonight? If I say you're going to be at home tonight, he says, yep, cool, I'll pop by. I'll pop by. P-O-P, pop. People pop in, pop out, nothing. How can you be hurt when someone's popping? You can't. Everybody's open to being popped by, so you pop by. You say, hey, what do you got going on tomorrow night? Nothing. Cool. I'm going to swing by and pick you up. Got somebody I want you to meet. You just give people these big buckets. Don't text, can you be available at 4? There's 1 in 24 chance that they say yes, and a 23 out of 24 chance they say no. You give them a big bucket for them to step into. You could say, hey, Matt, you open for breakfast this week? Are you open for breakfast this week? Any day this week, he's going to say, Yeah, in fact, he may suggest a day. Yeah, Thursday or Friday looks good. Cool, how about Friday, Original Pancake House? Done. If you guys do this, the big bucket, then you tell them what it looks like. Once they step in the bucket, they are going to see you. You're going to get 100 out of 100 appointments. So that's the two-step text. It's very, very simple. It's extremely duplicatable, and it's super effective at getting the appointment. And again, that's really all we need, because we don't care if they say yes. We only care that they see it. Matt?
Hey, Scott, that's awesome. Amazing. Very, very good. In fact, John Heerhold trained on that when we were in doing the Super Saturday up in Chicago just a number of weeks ago. And within 5 minutes, we had about 70% of the room had booked an appointment in literally 5 minutes. I can't tell you how powerful the text invite is. That is very, very strong. One last question for you, Scott, not to keep you on all night here. But we've got a lot of people who may be in remote areas. You know, maybe someone in Chicago enrolled someone in Fargo, North Dakota. And so someone's in Fargo, North Dakota. They don't know anyone else in that market. Commitments number 3 and number 4 is, you know, attend your weekly business opportunity presentation, attend the weekly Fast Start training. What do you recommend for someone in a market like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that, because it actually reminds me to mention one thing that I meant to talk about on the 9 commitments. So let me say that, and then I'm going to come back and very specifically answer your question. The thing about the 9 commitments, guys, is that it's a diagnostics tool. Anybody in any market can create the 9 commitments. So if somebody enrolls, if they enroll in your market, for instance, if you're in Chicago and they enroll in Chicago where there's stuff going on, you say, these are the 9 commitments, here's where it's going on. If they enroll somewhere else, you say, these are the 9 commitments, this is what we have to create in your market. Now, the thing that's beautiful about that is that most of us who've been in the business for longer than a week have people who've enrolled on our team, and they come to us and say, hey, I'm stuck. I don't know where I'm going wrong. What do I do to get out of the funk I'm in? How do I get enrollments? What's going on? All you do is break out the 9 commitments, and you make this a language that you speak on your team. You just go, well, let's just go through it. Are you doing a game plan session with everybody you've enrolled? If they go, well, I did it with a couple people, but I got a couple I didn't do it with. Okay, well, I guess our coaching session's over. We know where the problem lies. Have fun. Go get your game plans going. Right there, you've diagnosed the problem. They say, yeah, I'm doing that. Cool, let's go to the next thing. Are you doing your 2 exposures a day? You're going to be able to go through the 9 commitments very easily, diagnosing where people are having challenges of getting their business going. And what's beautiful about that is that it duplicates the leadership as well, because now it's not, you know, hinging on people coming to the oracle, Matt Morris, who is the, you know, wise, great one at the top of the hill, and everybody's got to ask him, what's going on with my business? How do I fix my business? No. Everyone has been disseminated the diagnosis tool. So you could be a week in the business and diagnose a person's business who's been in the business for 3 days. And so that's one of the powerful aspects of the 9 commitments. So now coming back to the question, in any new area, this is my opinion. Again, you guys may want to do something different, but my opinion is that we don't hamstring people by trying to get them tied into something that's not really there. Instead, let's empower people to be the leaders that they're going to have to become anyway. I mean, look, if you're going to become a regional marketing director or higher, you're going to have to run your own meetings. You're going to have to get stuff going. When I started here in Dallas, there wasn't a lot going on here in Dallas. I just did it. I just started doing meetings. I just started doing presentations because I just knew that's what it was going to take. Well, guys, what I suggest you do is when you get somebody enrolled, for instance, I've got this happening on my team in a number of geographies, brand new people who are in geographies where there is literally nothing going on. We're giving them the 9 commitments, and we're saying you need to establish a live meeting on a Tuesday. Now, look, it may be you and your dog every Tuesday for 3 weeks in a row, but after a bit, we're going to get it going. You're going to just get the meeting going. You just establish a place, establish the time. We're going to start inviting your friends. If only 1 or 2 show up at first, that's okay. And then the Thursday training, you're going to do that too. And they're going, you mean I'm going to train? Well, yeah, you're going to train with some help. We're going to give you the slides. We're going to give you the agenda. We may give you some recordings to play. We may give you a dial-in number to listen to one of the trainings for a little while, but you're basically going to host the training starting on a Thursday. So in these new markets, we're establishing them as leaders right away, and we're holding their hand a lot, but we're not letting them deviate from the system. If they're brand new in a market, they get the privilege of being the one to establish the 9 commitments in that market. Does that make sense, Matt?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute here. Scott, once again, thank you so much. That was unbelievable, totally amazing. We've got all these chat messages coming in. Tell Scott he rocks. Thank you so much. Woohoo, definitely want the replay. Awesome talk, awesome, amazing, fantastic. So way to go, Scott. Everyone, makes sense to me. Anyway, very, very cool. Here's what I would recommend coming off of this. We are going to get this up on a replay here very, very soon, and this is what I would recommend. If you're watching this replay right now, watch this about once a week. Every single week, just write it in your schedule, in your planner. Watch this one time a week. Ingrain the 9 core commitments in your head and memorize them so you've got them down pat. When I sat on the airplane with David Peach and he started going through them, he could read them to me forwards, backwards. I mean, he's got them down pat. Same thing with Scott, and same thing with me now that I have heard these a couple times now. And so learn this, watch it over and over, and tonight the biggest thing that you can do before your head hits the pillow is have your Come to Jesus meeting. Go back to the beginning and re-listen to that if you need to. Have your Come to Jesus meeting and decide if you're going to win in this business or if you're going to continue living the kind of life that you have now. Because here's the reality. If nothing changes in your life, nothing changes. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you want an amazing life, you're going to have to do something different. You've just been given the plan. Let's go follow it, and let's rock it. Scott, once again, thank you so much for being on this call, and thanks everyone for joining in. Good night, everyone.